Hello everyone and welcome back to another video of some F1 2020 gameplay. Today we're going to be taking a look at how to get the most R&D points out of the practice sessions in either career mode or my team, because the same sessions on F1 2020. If you're going to enjoy this video, then leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you see more F1 2020 gameplay. Turning on the notification bell as well will let you know when that happens. But yes, you can see here we've got 7 things, 6 of them are practice programs, and then obviously there are some team objectives as well, which some of them are a bit weird and probably just want later on, if you probably won't need to be able to do them later on in the career mode, but earlier on it's vital that if you can get them done, then it's probably best you can, but you probably won't spend all day. But the first and foremost one you want to go for that gets you the most amount of points is track acclimatization. You can do this one even with the 78% wear engine. Basically, you can do this with engine. All you've got to do is drive your car through the gates. It's as simple as that. Now, obviously, there is a minimum speed that each one of these goes. So if there's a track that your setup isn't quite right, then it could cause you to get that one. You can see there we weren't optimal speed, but we still got a green corner. And obviously parts of these corners have got, if you get a green and a purple, then you will get like 20 points. You see there we just clipped that one as well. So you want to be driving through the center of the gate, not to one side, otherwise you're only going to get a green score there. And obviously if you miss one like there, you want to take a flashback, because it is so hard to then get the purple score if you have missed one. Obviously if you've got green, as we've missed up there, again you've got to be careful where you choose to flash back to, otherwise you're going to put yourself in a bit of difficulty. But yes, obviously getting the best out of there, we got a little bit twitchy on that one, so lost a bit of speed. But again, a couple of green ones, you're not going to get the perfect score through every gate. That's where you mess up completely there. That's going to be another flashback. But again, you want to get, this is pretty much about getting through the gates, and it's going to get you, even with a slow engine, you should still get the perfect score out of this practice program, basically. Obviously it's easy to get the green score, but what you're aiming for really is to get the optimum score, which is a little bit more difficult to get. Obviously you don't want too many green corners. You want to be hitting the majority of them being purple, but a couple of greens isn't going to be too bad. You can see we're beating the resource points by some 20 points there. And then of course after that, once you've got those in the bag, the next practice program you do only gets half the amount of resource points are available. So instead of getting 200 points there, you only get, the next one you do is 100 points. Now this is still crucial, the order you do them in. For the first and the second one. After that, it doesn't matter at all. But the one that I would suggest you do next is not tyre management or fuel management or even that, it's the race strategy one, because this for me is the second easiest one to do, because although you have got to manage the ERS using the overtake mode, it is so easy to get the delta time, which is basically what you've got to do is beat the delta time that is set for you. Obviously we get the team objective as well for getting top speed as well, using, I recommend you probably want to use rich mix around the straights. Obviously you get DRS and a little bit of DRS, but you've got to think about there. Obviously if you're doing a 50% career, then you've got to think about tyre wear, because that will affect the options that you might be given. You can of course customize the strategy you want to, obviously, but again, it will 25% career mode, which is what I was doing, and obviously 5%, then it doesn't really matter how much tyre weight you do have. but definitely for 50% career modes, that's something that's got to be in the back of your mind. But again, you get 10 points for each lap you complete, and a bonus of 10 points if you you beat the delta on the previous lap. So you basically have to do 3 laps to beat this score, and obviously we're going to get optimum score here. The target is to get 50 points. Obviously the delta will obviously decrease over the laps because of course tyre wear comes into a factor, although it will also come into a factor of then we've got the optimum pace. You can of course do the full 5 laps if you want to, but we really only need to get 3 laps, and we've actually completed all the team objectives there. We'll go into that later. Now I tend to only in FP1, the final one I tend to do FP1 is qualifying pace, but obviously that's not what we're going to do next in this video, but then tend to leave time management and fuel management for FP2, and I don't tend to do ERS management. But you can see there, no matter which one you do next, there's only 50 resource points available, 25 for average, 25 for a bonus 25 if you get the optimum, and that's it. It used to be in F1 2018 that they used to scale it down. In actual fact, the final practice program you got, even if you got an optimum score on it, you got absolutely none. But yes, these ones are a bit wayward between tyre wear and fuel management. Is why I suggest you do them later on in FP2, simply because it's a little bit more. What's the word I'm looking for? They're a little bit more basically they're not consistent between circuits. That's basically what I'm trying to say. They're not consistent, so you're not always going to get low tyre wear or low fuel saving at different circuits. But basically you've got to beat the delta and also keep the bar in the either the green or the purple areas. Obviously, preferably in the purple, you'll get the bonus points of being optimal. But for fuel, so the way this works, like with tyre wear, obviously you want to have the green there as a glitch, and the easiest way is to have the dynamic racing line onto corners, which of course I do. And basically, obviously you want to keep the delta green. This is method 1. There is another method which I'll show you at the end of the lap. But basically, if you lift off as you're going through the corner, you will gain up. Obviously, you will lose a little bit there, but that's a bit of a glitch there. We shouldn't be losing that much. But obviously, lift off and then before braking is the easiest way to go. Lift off here. You will obviously, as we make a mistake on the gravel, is that glitch going to come back again? Yes, it is. But obviously you want to keep an eye on the delta, make sure you're still in the green, otherwise you don't want to be lifting off. But yes, lift off through this bit and then into the green bit, and then obviously you want to be braking as normal. Or if you've got brake assist on like I have, then that's the way. Now there is an alternative. If you've got the delta like stupidly high and you're still on green, then you can just lift off, go into the line. Obviously you want to make sure that that delta is still green as you go in the line, but there's no point in having it more, but you can of course increase that, increase the into the purple. One thing I would point out is a top tip: do not do FP3. Obviously gearboxes are having wear. I know there is a glitch in my team with event gearboxes. In FP3 you have to use the event gearbox, so my advice is to just skip F3. Don't simulate it, just skip it and avoid adding that unnecessary wear to your gearbox. Otherwise you're going to end up taking more gearboxes. Obviously the practice gearbox you use in FP1 and FP2, you can take as many as those as your heart's content, as many as you want throughout the season. You can have one for, as we're going to do now, apply one between even a practice session, for example. But yes, now we come up to the final two ones. Which one of them is glitched and the other one I don't tend to do because it is a little bit, it's the hardest of the one to get multiple score. The first one is qualifying pace. This is unfortunately glitched in F1 2020 because they've changed this. You used to be able to give them 3 laps to get the target lap time. You now only get 1. Now, even on this difficulty, I am struggling here. Ultimately, if you want to get this one, then you're going to have to turn down the AI difficulty, because everybody else is struggling to be able to get this delta, and you can see there that we're about 5/10 down on this lap. It's not great, it's not the optimum lap, but still we are struggling for pace. Now that's not an optimal corner, we're going to lose a 10th there, but a couple of tenths there. It's not the best lap for me, but even if it was the best lap, it would still not be enough to be able to get the delta. So it is glitched, unfortunately, and the only way to be able to achieve this is to lower the AI difficulty, which you can only do between sessions as well. So my advice is to get the other ones done first. I only tend to do this as a sort of a final thing to see what we can do. The final one is ERS. I don't tend to do this one myself. I tend to skip it, mainly because as soon as you hit that overtake button, you just lose so much, and it's obviously the delta time really isn't. It's so competitive. It's so fine between getting it right and getting it wrong. As you can see through, we're not that far off, and you can, although we're trying to improve to get to the purple, we are losing time. Then as soon as we hit that thing, we just absolutely, the slider just goes so much down. So it's about adjusting yourself and getting the perfect score, and you can see here we're not really going to be able to keep up there. So it is the toughest one to do, and in this particular one we only actually get a green delta time. Obviously be careful not to overtake that. You do get DRS, but other than that you don't get rich mix, so which is annoying. So but yes, you can see there that we've got a fair amount of resource points. Obviously you've got team objectives as well. Some of them will be like run different setups, so it's up to you if you want to complete them. I tend to admit, if there's some that I just do them as they're going along. If there's any extras that we haven't covered, then I don't tend to bother. And we see there we've got 480 resource points. You obviously get the most amount of resource points from the race itself and the weekly there. You'll notice also that something is different in this year's career mode, and my team as well, is that your teammate also gets you resource points. And they too have their own objectives and R&D objectives and practice programs as well. So they won't get as much as you, unfortunately, but they will get an average. This is probably about the same if you were to simulate a practice session, basically. So you probably end up getting double. Their practice programs are only probably getting the average score for each one, as opposed to us getting the optimal score. But yes, that's going to be it for today's video. If you have enjoyed this video, then leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you see more F1 2020 content as and when it comes out. There will be a second video coming with some career mode later today. If there's anything else you particularly want to see from F1 2020 that you're not particularly sure about, then let me know in the comments below. If you're new around here, then please do get subscribed for what is currently daily F1 2020 content, usually is weekly content in the normal world. But until the next VR6 time, take care. Thank you so much for watching, enjoy your day, and bye.